Hello, dear students. Good morning to one and all. Good morning. Is it voice is audible? Okay, thank you. Okay, dear students, good morning to one and all. Today's class is on short answer questions with answers on Unit 4. Okay, define exhaustive search. Define exhaustive search. So, exhaustive search is simply a brute force approach to combinatorial problems. To combinatorial problems. It suggests generating each and every element of the problem's domain, selecting those of them that satisfy the program's constraints, and then finding a desired element. Finding a desired element. Okay, dear students, see the second question. Difference between backtracking. Backtracking and exhaustive search. So backtracking is to build up the solution vector one component at a time and to use modified criterion function P1, Pi, okay, x1 to xi, sometimes called the bounding function. This is called bounding function to test whether the vector being formed has any chance of success. Any chance of success. సపోజ్ ఎగ్జాస్టివ్ సెర్చ్ అంటే ఏంటి? కంటిన్యూస్గా అన్ని విధాలుగా సెర్చ్ చేసుకుంటే వెళ్ళడం, అంటే బండ పద్ధతిలో సెర్చ్ చేసుకుంటే వెళ్ళడం ప్రతిదీ కూడా, దాన్ని ఎగ్జాస్టివ్ సెర్చ్ అంటాం. సో ఎగ్జాస్టివ్ సెర్చ్ ఈ సింప్లీ ఏ బ్రూట్ ఫోర్స్ అప్రోచ్ టు కాంబినేటరియల్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్. కాంబినేటరియల్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్. సో ఇట్ సజెస్ట్ generating each and every element of the problem's domain, selecting those of them that satisfy the problem's constraints, and then finding a desired element. So in the backtracking, see the another difference. Backtracking makes it possible to solve many large instances of NP hard problems in an acceptable amount of time. Exhaustive search is impractical. It is not practical for large instances, however, applicable for small instances of problems. Now see the question, define backtracking. Okay, already you know about backtracking. Okay, now see the question number 4. Give the categories of problem in backtracking. And that is in which problems we are using the backtracking. Decision problems, optimization problem, and enumeration problem. Whether there is any feasible solution, that is a decision problem. Yes or no type. Optimization problem, that is objective function is there, maximizing or minimizing whether there exists any best solution. Enumeration problem finds all possible feasible solutions. What is enumeration? Enumeration అంటే లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ అనమాట. అంటే వాట్ ఆర్ ద డిఫరెంట్ సొల్యూషన్స్. సో లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సొల్యూషన్స్ ఇచ్చాక ఆ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సొల్యూషన్స్లో మనం పాసిబుల్ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సొల్యూషన్స్ని ఇవ్వడం. ఇచ్చిన తర్వాత ఆ పాసిబుల్ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సొల్యూషన్స్లో బెస్ట్ సొల్యూషన్ ఏంటనేది ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాం. కాబట్టి లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ సొల్యూషన్స్ మనం ఎన్యూమరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాబ్లం అని అంటున్నాం. ఓకే, లిస్ట్ డౌన్ ద ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఆఫ్ బ్యాక్ ట్రాకింగ్. బ్యాక్ ట్రాకింగ్కి ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఏంటి? జస్ట్ రీడ్ దీస్ 4 ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఆఫ్ బ్యాక్ ట్రాకింగ్. So n-queens problem, already you know, we have the n by n chessboard. We are placing the n number of queens on the board such that no 2 queens attack each other. So n-queens problem, Hamiltonian circuit problem, and subset sum problem. So what is subset sum problem? There is a set is given. In a set there are some list of elements are there, and we are taking some elements from the set such that the sum of the elements should satisfy the condition or the criteria. So if the sum of the elements which are satisfying the criteria, then that list of elements are in the subset of the subset sum problem. So this subset sum problem is also an example in the backtracking. So what is sum of subsets problem? We are given the n distinct positive numbers, usually called weights, and we desire to find all combinations of these numbers whose sums are m. Sum of the combinations, the sum when you take is m. This is called sum of subsets problem. Sum of subsets problem. Okay, next one is constraint satisfaction problem. What is a constraint satisfaction? So based on the conditions on the problem, if the conditions are satisfied, when your solution satisfies the conditions, then that is a constraint satisfaction problem. Suppose when I say m plus n is equal to 1, then what is m and what is n? That means which two numbers if we add to get 1. Suppose m is 0, m may be 0, then n is 1, then you will get 0 plus 1, 1. Condition is satisfied. Suppose m equal to 1, n equal to 0, then 0 plus 1 plus 0, 1. That means m may be 0 or 1, or n may be 0 or 1. Then you will get m plus n to get such that it is 1. That means we need to consider the constant satisfaction problem on the given two letters such that each letter should have a unique value. So this is the constant satisfaction problem. Suppose building construction, that is also a constant satisfaction problem based on the constraints. Some conditions are given. Based on some conditions, need to construct the building. After constructing the building, if the conditions are satisfied, then that is a solution reached. That is a constraint satisfaction problem. Now define promising and a non-promising node. What is a promising node? A node in a state space tree is said to be promising if it corresponds to a partially constructed solution that may still lead to a complete solution. సో ప్రామిసింగ్ నోడ్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఒక స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీ మనం కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేస్తాం. దాంట్లో నోడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, ట్రీలో నోడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ప్రామిసింగ్ అని ఎప్పుడు అంటాం ఒక నోడ్ని? ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ద సొల్యూషన్, దట్ పర్టికులర్ నోడ్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ద partially constructed solution. Okay, and it should lead to the final solution. Okay, complete solution. That is called promising node. A node in a state space tree. What is a state space tree? ఏదైనా ఒక ప్రాబ్లం మనం సాల్వ్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఒక ట్రీని కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేస్తాం. అదే స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీ. ఆ స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీలో మనకి ఇనీషియల్ నోడ్ ఉంటుంది, గోల్ నోడ్ ఉంటుంది. ఇనిషియల్ నోడ్నేమో రూట్ నోడ్ అంటాం, గోల్ నోడ్ ఏమో లీఫ్ నోడ్కి రీచ్ అవుతుంది, అక్కడ ఎండ్ అయిపోతుంది. సో ఇక్కడ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ని లో డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్న స్టేట్స్ కింద తీసుకుంటాం అనమాట. ఎంటైర్ ప్రాబ్లంలో ఉన్న ఇంటర్మీడియట్ స్టెప్స్ అన్నింటిని కూడా స్టేట్స్ కింద తీసుకుంటాం. సో దట్ ఈస్ స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీ. సో ఏ నోడ్ ఇన్ ఏ స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీ ఈజ్ సెట్ టు బి promising if it corresponds to a partially constructed solution that may still lead to a complete solution. Next, non-promising node. Non-promising node. A node in a state space tree is said to be non-promising. When we say non-promising, if it corresponds to a partially constructed solution that would not be able to lead to a complete solution further. Okay, next, what are the two types of constraints used in backtracking? Explicit constraints and implicit constraints are the two types of constraints used in backtracking. So many of the problems we solve using backtracking require that all the solutions satisfy a complex set of constraints. Since whatever solutions you are generating for a backtracking problem, when you solve a problem by using the backtracking, then there are all the solutions should satisfy a complex set of constraints. For any problem, these conditions can be divided into two categories, that is explicit constraints and implicit constraints. These are the two constraints we are using in the backtracking. Okay, now consider these two constraints, that is common examples. Suppose explicit constraints are rules that restrict each xi టు టేక్ ఆన్ వాల్యూస్ ఓన్లీ ఫ్రమ్ ఏ గివెన్ సెట్. అంటే ఇచ్చిన సెట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దాని నుంచి మాత్రమే వాల్యూస్ని తీసుకోవాలి, వేరే సెట్ నుంచి వాల్యూస్ తీసుకోకూడదు. అదే ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్ కన్స్ట్రైంట్స్. ఓకే, కామన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్ కన్స్ట్రైంట్స్ ఆర్ సి xi గ్రేటర్ దెన్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0. xi ఈస్ గ్రేటర్ దెన్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0 అంటే 0 కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉండాలి మన తీసుకునే సెట్లో ఉన్న ఎలిమెంట్స్ యొక్క వాల్యూస్, లేదా ఈక్వల్గానే ఉండాలి, గ్రేటర్ దెన్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ టు 0. సో ద సేమ్ థింగ్ యూ కెన్ రైట్ యాజ్ si ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు all non-negative real numbers, all non-negative real numbers, nothing but xi greater than or equal to 0. Now xi is equal to 0 or 1. అంటే xi యొక్క వాల్యూ 0 అవ్వచ్చు లేదా 1 అవ్వచ్చు. సో ఆర్ si, you can write the same thing as si is equals to 0, 1, that is in two elements in a set. Now li less than or equal to xi less than or equal to ui. Okay, ui. Li less than or equal to a less than or equal to ui. That means the value is in between the li and ui, lower case, lower bound and upper bound. So the explicit constraints depend on the particular instance I of the problem being solved. So we are taking the instance I, some example I of the problem. All tuples that satisfy the explicit constraints define a possible solution space for I. So what are tuples we can satisfy the explicit constraints? Explicit constraints define a possible solution. Okay. The implicit constraints are rules. Implicit means those are some rules. Constraints are the rules. Okay, that determine which of the tuples in the solution space of I. In the solution space of I, what are the different tuples? Okay, tuples in the solution space of I satisfy the criterion function. Criterion function ni satisfy చేస్తుంది. Thus implicit constraints describe the way in which the xi must relate to each other. Xi must relate to each other. There should be a relation. That is implicit constraints. So for the problems, we have the explicit constraints and implicit constraints in our backtracking problem. Already we discussed explicit and implicit constraints for the 8 queens problem. So implicit constraints define implicit constraints. Implicit constraints are the rules that determine which of the tuples in the solution space of I satisfy the criterion function. How can you represent the solution for two queens problem. Two queens problem ki solution enti? There is no solution for two queens problem, since however the queens are arranged, both queens would be in the same diagonal or same column. So when you consider two queens problem, already you know about this two queens problem. Okay, in two queens problem, they, that is a 2 by 2 chessboard is there. In the 2 by 2 chessboard, 2 by 2 means two rows and two columns. There are four squares in the chessboard. If we arrange the queens in the four squares, then these queens may be in the same column or maybe in the same diagonal. So it is not possible to arrange the queens to avoid the attacks. So one queen may attack another queen in 2 by 2 chessboard. How can you represent the solution for 8 queens problem? Solution for 8 queens problem. So all solutions represented as 8 tuples x1 to x8, where xi is the column on which queen I is placed. So we have the 8 columns, okay, 8 rows. So we have the 8 rows and 8 columns, 8 by 8 chessboard. So xi is the column on which queen I is placed. That means, suppose when I say x2, x2 means second column, where queen I is placed means queen 2 is placed. Okay. Constraints are explicit constraints and implicit constraints for the 8 queen problem. Explicit constraints are set Si is equals to, since we are using the chessboard 8 by 8, so 1, 2 up to 8. Now implicit constraints, no two xi's, no two x values can be the same column or row. By this, solution space reduced from 8 power 8 to factorial of 8. Since when you can go for exact search in the, it takes very lot of time. 8 power 8 means, so no two queens, ఏ రెండు క్వీన్స్ కూడా కెన్ బి ఆన్ ద సేమ్ డయాగనల్లో ఉండకూడదు. ఒకవేళ సేమ్ డయాగనల్లో ఉంటే కనుక అటాక్ జరుగుతున్నట్టుగా. ఓకే, డిఫైన్ ఎన్ క్వీన్స్ ప్రాబ్లం. ఓకే, ఎయిట్ క్వీన్స్ని జనరలైజ్ చేసి మనం ఎన్ క్వీన్స్ ప్రాబ్లం కింద తీసుకున్నాం. సో 8 queens problem and n queens problem. The n queens problem is a generalization of the 8 queens problem. Now n queens are to be placed on the n by n chessboard so that no two queens attack each other. That is, no two queens are on the same row, column, or diagonal. Generalizing our earlier discussion, the solution space consists of all factorial of n permutations. So place n queens on an n by n chessboard so that no two queens attacks no two queens attack attacks another queen, which means no two queens are in the same row or column or same diagram. Solution space consists of all factorial of n permutations of the n tuple అన్ని ఫ్యాక్టర్ల ఆఫ్ n పర్మిషన్స్ కూడా తీసుకుంటాం. Solution space consists of all factorial of n permutations of the n tuple 1 to n. Now define sum of subsets problem. Sum of subsets problem. In the sum of subsets problem, there are n positive integers. There are n positive integers wi and positive. Now see the sum of subsets problem using backtracking. In the sum of subsets problem, there are n positive integers wi and a positive integer w. W is given capital W and the weights are given wi's. That is all the weights. The goal is to find all subsets of the integers that sum to w. So for example, n equal to 4. I have taken n equal to 4. 4 elements are there, 4 weights are there. Now w equals to 11, 13, 24, 7. Then yeah, what is m value? M value is given, that is 31 total sum of the subset of elements. Subsets. The desired subsets are 11, 13, 7. Now we are taking the subsets of the list. W is equal to 11, 13, 24, 27. Now m equal to 31 means desired subsets are, now take the sum 11 plus 13 plus 7. Some subset of the elements we have taken. Then the total weight is total weight is total weight of subsets such that it should be 31. Now add 11, 13, 7. What is the value? 13 plus 7 is 20. 20 plus 11 is 31. Now add 24 and 7. 24 and 7 are the two elements in the weight subset, weight set. Now 24 comma 7 becomes the subset. Now total is 31. The solution vectors can also be represented by the indices of the numbers as, now what is the index of these numbers? 11, 13, 7. That is 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 4. Now we have the 24 comma 7. So 24 and 7 are the third element and the fourth element. So there is a index for this also. So all solutions are k tuples 1 less than or equal to k less than or equal to n. Now define problem state. What is a problem state? Problem state is each node in the depth first search tree, DFS. When you consider DFS, the problem state is the nodes we are taking in the DFS. Define state space of the problem. State space is the set of all paths from root node to other nodes. Set of all paths. That is define state space of the problem. Now define solution states and answer state. What is a solution state? What is a answer state? Solution states are the problem states for which the path from the root node to S defines a tuple in the solution space. In variable tuple size formulation tree, all nodes are solution states. So solution states and answer state. Solution states are the problem states. Problem states yes, for which the path from the root node to S defines a tuple in the solution space. In the variable tuple size formulation tree, all nodes are solution states. In a fixed tuple size formulation tree, only the leaf nodes are the solution states. Partition into disjoint subsolution spaces at each internal node. Okay. What about answer state? Answer states are the solution states, yes, for which the path from root node to S defines a tuple that is a member of the set of solutions. So these states satisfy implicit constraints. Answer states satisfy the implicit constraints. Define state space tree. State space tree is the tree organization of the solution space. Solution space ni tree organization state space tree. మనం ట్రీలో లాగా ఆర్గనైజ్ చేస్తాం సొల్యూషన్ని. ట్రీలో లాగా ఎలాగ ఆర్గనైజ్ చేస్తాం అంటే ట్రీకి ఎలాగైతే ఇనిషియల్ నోడ్ ఉందో దాన్నే మనం రూట్ నోడ్ అంటున్నాము. అంటే మన ప్రాబ్లంలో ఇనిషియల్ లేదా స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రాబ్లం ఈజ్ ద రూట్ నోడ్ ఇన్ ద స్టేట్ స్పేస్ ట్రీ. So entire solution space you can organize in the form of state space tree. Define static tree. Static trees are ones for which tree organizations are Okay, dear students, define static tree. So static trees are the ones for which tree organizations are independent of the problem instance being solved. So fixed triple size formulation, tree organization is independent of the problem. Now define dynamic tree. Dynamic trees are ones for which organization is dependent on problem instance. Now define live node. What is a live node? Live node is a generated node for which all of the children have not been generated yet. So E node is a live node whose children are currently being generated or explored. Whose children are currently being generated or explored. Now what is a define dead node? Dead node ante dead node is a generated node. Generated node that is not to be expanded any further. That is not to be expanded. So all the children of a dead node are already generated. Live nodes are killed using a bounding function to make them dead nodes. Okay, dear students, next question is define M color ability decision problem. M color ability decision problem. Let G be a graph and M be a given positive integer. M is the integer given and G is the graph. So the nodes of G can be colored in such a way that no two adjacent nodes have the same color yet only M colors are used. So this is the termed as the M colorability decision problem. We are using the M number of colors. Okay. If D is the degree of the given graph, then it can be colored with D plus one color. The M colorability optimization problem asks for the smallest integer M for which the graph G can be colored. So this integer is referred to as the chromatic number of the graph. This integer is chromatic number of the graph. The color of each node is indicated next to it. If three colors are needed to color the graph, then the graph's chromatic number is 3. If we are using the three colors to color the graph, then the chromatic number of the graph is 3. Okay, dear students, today's class is completed. Thank you for attending the class. Next, every student should submit their assignment on DA. So assignment 2 on DA should be submitted as early as possible. Today is the last date. All the students, please submit the assignment 2. Okay, thank you.